You said that you taught yourself how to code doing these things.
Yeah.
How did you do that? And how might you recommend teachers who maybe they've taught other subject areas and are now being asked to do computer science or are now on their own deciding to do this? How would you recommend that they learn how to code or how to do computer science in a classroom?
I might be kind of a bad person to ask. I'm of the mind that it's great to figure out how to integrate coding into tons of stuff because it can enrich so much, or integrate other subjects into a computer science class or whatever direction you're going. But you can't substitute the like creative practice of doing it. Like you would never take a art class from someone who doesn't know how to do some sort of visual art. That practice of having that like experience of trying to be creative is so important. You don't have to be amazing, especially, I mean, I'm from Virginia and we're trying to kind of bootstrap this computer science education community here among practicing teachers. And there's a lot of talk about doing integration with other core subjects, but there's not enough talk about people actually training to be programmers or computer scientists. There's not the time devoted to trying to make something cool and learning how that connects to everything else. I don't know that you necessarily have to do it before you can teach it. I think that you can probably learn while teaching and like learn along with the people in your class. But that decision to make something and like have a goal in mind, some kind of like interesting or rich or intrinsically kind of attractive kind of end product in mind, whether that's educative or aesthetic or whatever. It's so important because that kind of drives the communities that you interact with and you become a part of. It drives the like domain that you end up specializing in. And because like coding is huge, it's all this information, all these different practices that are kind of on this huge umbrella. And learning coding for one thing is not the same as learning coding for something else. And ultimately, you're going to be part of a community when you learn how to code. If you're not part of a community of coders who are doing something, they're coding something. Like there's always a modifier after that. Like say I'm learning how to code. Well, what are you learning how to code? Code what? That's the big question for me. And so whenever someone asks me like, "Hey, how can I learn how to be a coder?" I'm like, "Well, you got to like figure out something to make and make that. Like start small, but you can't sit and absorb through osmosis the stuff that would make you a better teacher if you're trying to get people to be creative."